We've all heard it a million times. Set realistic goals. But what if that's just terrible advice? Today, we're diving into a source that argues the constant pressure to be realistic is the very thing holding you back from figuring out what you truly want in life.
And yeah, the source does not pull any punches. It doesn't just disagree with the whole be realistic thing, it calls it complete nonsense. And here's the wild idea at the heart of it. The most powerful, life-changing goals are the ones that, from where you're standing right now, seem completely and totally impossible.
So, before we can really get into the alternative, we have to explore the problem the source is pointing out. It calls this the realism trap. So, what does a realistic goal even mean? Well, according to this, it's any goal that fits neatly inside the little box of your current life. Your resources, your mindset, your whole situation. Basically, it's just planning for a tomorrow that looks an awful lot like today. And this leads to a really powerful question, right? Unless you're what the source calls a dedicated practitioner of chronic anxiety, where just keeping things the same feels like a win, why would you get excited about a goal that just promises more of the same? There's no spark, no real ambition, and ultimately no power to actually motivate you. So what's the big deal? What's really happening when we only aim for what feels, achievable? The source argues there's a huge hidden cost to being realistic. This slide really just lays it all out. See, the promise of a realistic goal is that it feels safe and doable and normal. But the reality, according to our source, is that it just keeps you stuck right where you are. It creates zero genuine excitement, and really, it only appeals to a part of us that's afraid of change. Okay, so if realism is the trap, what's the escape? Well, the source offers a pretty radical one: embracing the hopeless. Now hang on, this isn't about being pessimistic. It's about unlocking a really powerful tool for discovering who you are. And the definition here is absolutely key. A hopeless goal isn't something you can never achieve. It's just a desire that seems impossible from where you're standing right now. It's a goal that lives completely outside the box of your current reality. And this is where the magic happens. When you let yourself wish for something impossible, you're totally bypassing all those internal critics, the voices that always shut down your biggest dreams. It's like a direct line to your deepest, most authentic desires. Now, this all sounds great in theory, but how do you actually do it? Well, the good news is the source gives us a really simple, practical method for digging up your own hopeless goals. The whole process starts by just looking at the major areas of your life. You're not being asked to invent some dream out of thin air. Instead, you're just examining what's already there, but asking a totally different kind of question. Just take a look at these categories. You can start with any of them, or even one of your own. Just pick one that kind of resonates with you right now. Maybe it's career, or travel, or health. This is just your starting point. And here's the super simple 4-step method. Once you've got your category, you just ask that one key question. What seems impossible here? And then you listen, really listen, for that quiet little voice that says, I'd love to, but I could never. That is what you're looking for. That desire you dismissed, that is your hopeless goal. And the final step is easy. Just acknowledge it. Make the wish. The source gives a personal example from the travel category. The idea of taking 4 different trips in 1 year felt really difficult, impractical because of time, money, all the logistics. And that's what makes it a perfect hopeless goal. See, the point isn't to figure out the plan today. It's to give yourself permission to truly want it. This brings us to the final and maybe the most audacious idea from our source: how to take this whole concept and apply it across your entire life. The ultimate takeaway is this: give yourself permission to go back and revisit the dreams you packed away because they seemed unrealistic. Think about what you wanted before life told you to be more practical. Those are the desires this whole process is designed to bring back to the surface. And then the source ends by perfectly demonstrating its own logic. It's brilliant. The author admits they have no realistic hope that everyone will get this concept. So what do? They make it a hopeless wish. For themselves and for you. It's the entire principle put into practice right there. And that leaves us with one final question for you. Just for a moment, forget what's realistic. Forget all the limitations. What is the one audacious, hopeless goal that you've been secretly holding on to? What impossible thing will you dare to wish for?